Hello guys, welcome back. Welcome to the channel. I hope all of you are doing great. So yeah, in the last video we were able to use user data to configure SSM on this new instance that we created. So we'll be using the same instance in this video, and as promised in the last video, we'll be discussing how to install LAMP stack on an EC2 instance or a Linux instance. So LAMP stack basically means LAMP is a short form for Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. Yeah. So Linux is the operating system that we already have installed on our OS, on our server, sorry. And then Apache is a web server that we will be installing. MySQL is used to create database and to host the database, and PHP will be using as a language. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. And just to give you guys a very honest idea, I mean, LAMP stacks are usually an outdated kind of solution. So it is not very much used in a production environment these days, but it is, yes, very essential and very useful for a Linux admin or for a web admin. So you must be aware about this. You might still be find people using it in the testbed environments, but usually in case of due to the used resource utilization and the heavy traffic and the load that comes on the servers, mostly nowadays people use multi-tier architecture, in which there are separate web servers, and database servers are kept for security reasons in a private subnet. But since this one is a test environment, and we are just trying to learn how to set up a basic web server, so yeah, we'll be using the same server as a web server, and as well as a database server. Yeah, so let's start. I hope it all made sense to you and it is clear to you. So we have connected to the same instance using SSM that we were previously on, and okay, let's go ahead. So I have already logged in as root, didn't, because I switched user. So I won't use sudo, but if you are not logged on as root, so please remember to use sudo before every command, else you'll get an error. Okay, so first command that I am going to use is apt update. So this will just fix any dependencies if there are, and update any packages that might be required to be updated. So we'll do this, and once we are done with this, yeah, all good, we'll proceed next and we'll install Apache 2. So as I was telling you, Apache is a web server, so let it get installed. Okay, so it is installed now. So to verify whether Apache has got installed, let's do this. Systemctl status Apache 2. So we can see that the service is running. That means Apache 2 is installed. Very good. So let's proceed. And so before proceeding installing MySQL or PHP, I will do this. So please take care of this part, because if your Ubuntu firewall is running on the server, by default it will block any connection, block these connections. So we need to allow Apache. So this is very user friendly. You don't need to specify ports, and if you just specify Apache, it will automatically whitelist all the ports that are required for Apache, the basic ports with T443. Okay, proceed next, and we'll install MySQL. MySQL server, yes. Very good. So we have installed MySQL as well. And before we can start using MySQL, there is a common practice to run this MySQL secure installation. So we'll do this to secure our installation, to kind of harden the installation of MySQL. So it says validate password component and used to test passwords and improve security. It checks the strength of password and allows a user to get set only those passwords which are secure enough. We would like to set up validate password. So it is nothing but a additional check on the passwords you create for MySQL. So as a general practice and as a security practice, practice for security, you should keep it enabled. So these are the three levels of password validation policy. Low is length is greater than is equal to 8, medium is length is greater than is equal to 8, and numeric, mixed case and special characters. Similarly, strong length is greater than is equal to 8, numeric, mixed case, special character, and dictionary. So now it is asking you what is the level that you want to keep. So now I will select 0 because this is a test environment, and I'll be terminating the instance once it is created. Remove anonymous users, yes, definitely remove it. Disallow root login remotely, yes. Remove test database and access to it. So I'll keep it as no because I am not going to create any database on this for now. Remove reload privilege table now, yes, all done. So this is also done. So now the thing that is left is to install PHP. So for PHP we also need to install some components like libapache 2 mod PHP and PHP MySQL. So these components are required to be needs to be used along with MySQL and Apache. So I'll hit yes. And yes, as you can see that all the required dependencies for PHP have been installed. So before we can test the web server, we need to check some configs. So we'll do this etc apache 2 mods enabled dir directory.conf. Okay, so this is normal. Index.php is allowed. We need to make sure, I just wanted to check whether index.php is in there in the allowed list, because we are going to use a PHP page to test the web server. So now let's proceed systemctl and restart the installation one so that the changes take effect and all the PHP plugins get initialized. Now we are very close to testing the web server. So we'll do vi var www. So this is the default path for any website. Index.html. Now let's call it info.php, and this is a new file, and here we'll add, this is the standard code for PHP. So what this will do is basically this will create a page. This page will show the all the plugins installed and enabled on PHP, and this will be useful to test the connectivity. Okay, we are done. So now the moment of truth has arrived. I'm sorry, bad joke. So we'll copy this public IP of our instance, and we'll do an HTTP /IP info.php. We are not using HTTPS because we have not attached any SSL certificate, so I'm hoping this will not work. And yes, I am right. Yeah, because why this didn't work, so a lot of you might already have guessed it. So in the security group, we use the default security group, and it has only allowed the port 22 in inbound. So what we need to do is we need to allow the HTTP port 80, because we want to test that. So for the security purpose, I am allowing this from my IP only. You can allow, ideally if you are creating a web server, it should be allowed from anywhere, until unless you plan to use a load balancer or some similar services. So let's hit to refresh. And to validate whether we are able to connect it or not, we will do telnet 17192 and port is 80. I don't have telnet installed, no bad. This should work. Okay, I'll edit it, and I'm not sure if my ISP allows using static IP, so I'll allow it from anywhere, and I'll hit save. Let's reload. Hoping curl is there. Yeah, curl is there. So curl -v HTTP info. It is working. Yeah, it is working. So I'm not sure why it is not loading up on the browser, because this seems to be working with curl. Oh, here it is. So yeah, you can see that our web server is working fine. This is the instance ID, and these are all the INI files that are configured. This is the version of PHP API, PHP extension, and all the plugins that we have enabled are here. This is the detail of the Apache environment, HTTP header. So basically this file is simply created just to validate the connectivity and functioning of the web server. So we have our instance is now working fine, and we have a web server ready with a LAMP stack. So as the best practice to avoid any additional charges for this, I'm gonna go ahead and terminate this server. So if you are using your personal account for AWS account for testing, always do remember it. Don't let any any resources running when you're not using them, because this will incur charges, and a lot of people, like they are students, so I don't want them paying any fee, any charges for AWS. If anybody of you is facing similar issues, like if you have tested something on AWS and have got some bill or something, let me know in the comments and I'll help you to get it billed off. If it is, the bill is in the permissible range. So we have terminated and we are done with today's class. Yeah, so I hope you guys had a good time. You guys understood something, learned something. So take care, be happy, take care of your loved ones, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.